It's me, Roger. Do you have clean hands? So let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Hello, dear friends. Today, I'm going to show you a sweet dessert with a sweet dough and filling. Hazelnut, which I showed you a few days ago. If I ever give you the link, I'll be in... Well, it's a filled braid. Sweet. It's very, very good. At our place. In Switzerland, we call it a Russian braid. I don't know why, but that's how it is. I'm going to show you that it's simple to make a treat. I won't say more. To make the dough, we will need white flour, salt, sugar, yeast. Here I have dehydrated yeast that works too, water, butter, milk powder, an egg, and fermented dough, which I will take out of the freezer. We will start by hydrating the flour that is in my small mixer. I will put the water and the flour. Only 3/4 of the flour. Now I will attach my hook and let it run for a minute at low speed. Just to mix, and I will cover it and wait for an hour. See you in an hour. More than an hour. That my hydrated flour is hydrating. I will add my fermented dough and my yeast. I will now let it run. Just 6 minutes at first speed. See you in 6 minutes. My mixture has indeed stopped. So we see that the dough is quite firm, which is completely normal. In there, I will add my milk powder. I will add it, the sugar, the salt, the butter, the last 1/4 of the remaining flour, water. And I will let it run for 6 minutes. At second speed, very slowly at the start so that spill out. See you in 6 minutes. My little mixer has stopped. I add a little bit of flour and check the elasticity. We can see that the gluten has worked well. My dough is perfect like this. So I will add a little bit of flour and remove my hook. I will cover all of this and let it rest. Half an hour. See you in half an hour. It's now been half an hour that my dough has been resting. We can see that it has risen a little. It's going very, very well. I will take it out of the mixer. I have taken my dough out of the mixer. Now, I will sprinkle a little bit of flour over. It is nice and flexible. It's going well. And I will roll it out. To make a rectangle, I make my rectangle and we'll meet again shortly. Now that my dough is rolled out, I will add the hazelnut mixture that I prepared earlier. I thinned it with a little bit of water because it was a bit too thick to spread. And now I will spread it evenly over all my dough. Yep. I know that you, as regularly as possible, the earth. But that's optional. As for me, I helped myself and the actions I took soaked all night. Well, personally, I soaked them in rum, but otherwise, for the most. If you don't want alcohol, you can soak them in water. That works very well too. But this way, they will be much more tender to eat after having been soaked all year long. I put in quite a bit because I like it. It's up to you, but it's not mandatory. Now, I'm going to roll. My dough onto itself to make a nice roll. I tighten it each time. Here's my roll. Now, I'm going to cut it in two, lengthwise. And I'm to the braids like this. In a fairly tight manner. Now I'm going to put this on a paper, baking paper, on a baking sheet. My braid is now on baking paper. I squish it a bit to give it some volume so that it's not too long. And now I'm going to cover it with a cloth and wait for about an hour before baking. In the meantime, I will have preheated my oven to 220 degrees. See you in a bit. Now we wait for about an hour. We can see that it has risen well. So I am going to put this in an oven with steam at 220 degrees and then lower it to 180 for about 40 minutes. 45 minutes. We'll have to see. See you in a bit. While it's baking, I've put some hazelnuts in a cloth. To make the topping, I cover them. And I'm going to crush them like this. There. I gather them a bit more. Once again. And there you go. I'm going to put this in a small container and it will serve as a topping. The recipe: 400 grams of white flour, 200 grams of water, 1 egg, 40 grams of sugar, 40 grams of toll butter, 20 grams of milk powder, 20 grams of yeast, 100 grams of fermented dough, and 8 grams of salt. And there you go. My beautiful press. And now I have some apricot jelly that I made. If you don't know how to make it, let me know and I'll make a little video for you. How to make apricot jelly? I made it quite soft on purpose so that it can be brushed onto this kind of item, because it needs to be done hot to give it flavor and to create a somewhat waterproof layer, so that the glaze I'm going to apply later isn't completely absorbed by the biscuit. Otherwise, after an hour, it would look like that piece is at least a week old. And that's not the result we want. So I brush it well all over. Then I prepared a glaze with icing sugar and a tiny bit of water to brush over my piece. Simply mix icing sugar and water. Very little water, because otherwise you'll have way too much. And I put that everywhere. I brush it well to ensure there's a good layer. It also adds a bit of flavor. And now, as a final garnish, I'm going to add the crushed hazelnuts I prepared earlier. And there you go. Now all that's left is to let it cool. And there you go. You can see the layers of hazelnuts, and it's very tender. It's great. With that, I wish you a good appetite. And I look forward to seeing you in a new video. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now you know how to do it. Go ahead, make it. It's not difficult. And I'll see you soon for another video. Goodbye. Don't forget a little thumbs up. Subscribe, share my videos, and thank you for leaving a comment